Today is a pretty action-packed update, from 737 MAX news to Swiss cancellations and an Indian airline angry at another one. Why not begin there? Tensions are heating up in India as flag carrier Air India retaliates against rival IndiGo over lease contracts. According to Reuters, the Indian flag carrier is calling on Indian officials to end the relationship that is currently established between IndiGo and Turkish Airlines, this relationship through lease arrangements. The deal, which naturally benefits the Indian carrier in terms of capacity and market share growth, does go on to eat away at Air India's. While this would generally be okay, the flag carrier believes that this is not being conducted in a correct manner. IndiGo knows itself that it's facing delays in acquiring new aircraft, and therefore it has put a great emphasis on building relationships with established international airlines. Not only is this important for the long term, but it also allows it in the short term to mitigate the complexities that are hitting the business. Recent concerns have centered on Turkey, specifically Istanbul's relationship with Pakistan, and given the ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan, well, Air India is pointing towards security-related frustrations that they have through this deal. And with national security being at an all-time high, given what has been unfolding, there has been pushback from Air India. They're trying to get the IndiGo and Turkish Airlines partnership revoked, which has been occurring over recent years. IndiGo, another carrier based in India and therefore of threat to Air India, has been hell-bent on growing as a business with a strong focus on international expansion efforts. The acquisition of Boeing 787s, most recently on a lease from North Atlantic Airways, has enabled the growth of its international network as part of real growth plans. However, its long-standing relationship with Turkish Airlines formed an integral part of the initial, pretty solid international ambition to grow, which the flag carrier is now criticizing. The future of IndiGo in reality is going to present challenges to Air India, which is currently in the process of rebuilding. See, as IndiGo continues advancing, the business will aim to take advantage of its counterparts' missed fortunes and find ways to leverage the lack of satisfaction to attract prospective customers through their doors, and the sizable order for the A350 certainly signified their long-term intent as the years progress, while the 787 being acquired on a short-term lease would very much be viewed as a short to medium-term solution to get the building blocks in place to mount a real sizable threat moving forward. Air India is not able to capture all available market share, even though it calls the country home and is the flag carrier. Demand is growing too quickly, and there are opportunities to pounce, but Air India is now coming forward with a little bit of opposition to a deal that has been in place for a few years. Over to the next story, and Swiss is cancelling over 1,000 flights across its long-haul network and beyond in the coming months, likely over peak summer season, as it battles pilot shortages. Confirmed to the Aero Telegraph at the end of last week, the Lufthansa Group company is axing flights to maintain a robust schedule and avoid significant cancellations. I know we are seeing cancellations, but what I mean by that is if they try and retain all flights, it could get very messy and customers left at airports with their flights being cancelled. If they make these harsh decisions now, they have better time for preparations to get people on other services. Swiss says that the pilot shortage, which is ongoing, follows high absences, which are abnormal all things considered. These absences can be more considered as long-term rather than a short 2-day break, if that makes sense. Reasons for long-term absences do vary. That's not to say that they are not valid. They can range from accidents to matters such as pregnancies. However, if they all unfold at the same time, it can present operational challenges, and sometimes it's unlucky when all of this happens at once. Swiss is also committed to entering a new era with the Airbus A350, certainly very exciting, and the retraining of existing pilots has reduced their own ability to fly other aircraft as focus shift the future of their operations. As a result of these challenges, Swiss knows it must increase its overall hiring rate to bring in more staff, but this can be a challenge given the pilot shortages we have seen industry-wide. Analysts of our beloved aviation world and airline groups have continued to try and push to find ways to introduce pathways for people into the industry as pilots more than ever before, given the significant hurdles, and this includes cost and time associated required to train for the highly regarded position, which unfortunately, the way the world works, is out of reach for so many people. I know for a fact there's probably many of you you watching today that would have loved to have been a pilot, but may not have had either a pathway or just simply not the opportunity to invest so much money into that, especially in today's climate. That's not to say that people were not struggling 15 years ago, but certainly the amount of people that cannot simply put aside these funds has only increased with time. And with our industry being so crucially important, well, there needs to be ways to get people into these pathways through academies, scholarships, and more. And to the credit of many airline groups, we are starting to see this take into effect, but it's going to take time. To mitigate just some of the impact at the moment, the planned retirement of existing pilots at Swiss will be postponed in a bid to limit capacity loss until staff shortages ease up. I know a lot of the focus is on the pilot shortage, but an honourable mention has to also go to their operation of the A220. They are still being affected by the Pratt & Whitney crisis, with engine maintenance next to impossible, so the ability to maintain spare parts and have new deliveries occur on time is even more challenging. So there are certainly some other limitations affecting the Swiss operation, but they're certainly running with the pilot shortage as being a key catalyst. Over to the final story, and probably one of the bigger ones. Ryanair has reaffirmed that Boeing's upcoming 737 MAX 10 will be certified by the end of this year. The confirmation arrives as the airline continues to plan for the future. Its heightened focus on fleet renewals continues as it transitions out the 737 NGs and into the 737 MAX jets. Unfortunately for Ryanair, its fleet renewal has encountered its fair share of hurdles. Given the airline's firm reliance on being an all-Boeing customer, it has experienced many of the struggles that the plane maker has faced over the last 5 years. Despite this and the many challenges with also the certification of types such as the MAX 10, Ryanair is reaffirming its stance that it believes the jet will be certified this year and is growing increasingly hopeful that then it will see deliveries quickly follow. The airline's discussion of this contrasts with Boeing's forecasting. Well, I should probably say the lack thereof. Considering the persistent delays it has experienced, Boeing has not really looked to publish updates on the certification timeline for many of its aircraft that are yet to get off the ground. In what is primarily considered to be a better approach than before, this just simply allows the manufacturer to work behind the scenes without setting public expectations. Keyword public. Naturally, they are still communicating with their airline customers, awaiting aircraft behind closed doors, and then we will typically see airlines potentially revise their own forecasting, but as for Boeing, they're keeping it quite tight-lipped. As mentioned, Ryanair is a massive customer of Boeing and the MAX, so therefore the budget carrier hasn't really been afraid to express frustrations over the program, and you'd probably go as far as saying that Boeing would argue rightfully so. It has been very, very messy. The plane maker's inability to deliver planes on time, let alone certify aircraft expected to play a role in Ryanair's future, has slowed growth, the ability to meet demand, caused a tactical game of catch-up that is going to continue for some time. But despite all of this, Ryanair is remaining cautiously optimistic about first delivery of the MAX 10 sooner than some would suggest. What I mean by some is, in contrast, we had a couple of weeks ago United discussing the upcoming arrival of the same aircraft type, and they were saying they're seeing a lot of uncertainty around the 737 MAX 10 and are preparing for a first delivery now only in 2027, and that's at the very best. It can very easily, according to them, slip into 2028. Every airline's set of circumstances will be different, every airline's set of expected delivery dates will change, but it obviously is fascinating just from an outsider perspective looking in to see how each airline's forecasting changes month by month and how one airline may be a little bit more optimistic and the other one may not. There are various reasons for that, various motives, but it's a very much watch this space. We're already pretty much in June, so we're looking at about 6 months to get this jet certified, which would be huge for the 737 MAX program if achieved. No pressure there, but it's going to be definitely a one to follow. Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. And we'll